Hello, my name is Edwin Edebiri, and I am the Chief Happiness Officer with the I Am Happy Project and also the Happy Neighborhood Project. I want to say thank you for joining us for another Happy Monday. Folks, I started this now some time back just to encourage people to start their week on a foundation of happiness. And there are a lot of studies that shows that, hey, if you're happy, you are more creative, you are more productive, you are more resilient, you don't get involved in gossiping, you are a team player. So there's a whole lot of reasons to work on yourself to be happy. And even though Monday can be challenging to a lot of people, we want to change that. So if you are just joining us, we encourage you, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/AskTheCHO, that is AskTheCHO, all one word, and you can be updated every time. So today, folks, I want to talk about optimism and happiness. Optimism and happiness. Now, as I'm preparing for this session, folks, I look through all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you something. This is one of the exciting parts for me. And people say, Edwin, how come you're always happy? Well, if you focus on happiness, guess what? You're going to be happy, okay? If everything that I'm talking about and researching and everything like that, people are recommending happy stuff to me. And guess what? This is what's really cool. And I don't take this for granted, okay? All over the world, I get people send stuff to me anytime, almost anytime something happy happened to them. And they say, hey, I thought about you when this happened. How cool is that? That people think only about you when happy things happen to them. That is totally cool, okay? So today, folks, we're going to talk about optimism and happiness. Now, in a very simple definition, and you can easily Google this these days, okay? And it says optimism is best thing. Best thing. Can you imagine living through this world knowing best things are going to happen to you? That you're going to have a successful outcome of something that you are doing? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not that naive. I know life is going to throw you a curve from time to time, whether you like it or not, and whether you contribute to it or not. I mean, look at the unfortunate thing that is happening in the Midwest, with all the wind and the storm and the flood. They didn't ask for that. And so we know that life's going to happen. It could be things that we cause by ourselves, and it could be things that's caused by others, and it could also be things that's just caused by nature. We know that's going to happen. However, you cannot just live the life waiting for that to happen, okay? Or worse yet, looking at this as the worst of all war. We can do that. So if you go back in history, I think this is way 300 years ago now. 300 years ago, a philosopher says, his name is Leibniz, and some of you might be familiar with him. Leibniz is a German. He was a German. Over 300, he passed away at 1716, and we are now in 2017. That's over 300 years ago. And he said that this world is the best of all possible worlds. This world that we live in is the best of all possible worlds. Now, guess what? In those eras, some bad things happened too. I mean, really, really bad stuff happened. But he still believed in that philosophy that this world is the best of all possible worlds. And also back then, and this is something that really, really, it got me excited. Think about it. This is 300 years ago. And he said, and I quote, I am convinced that the unwritten knowledge scattered among men, and I know it includes women too, okay, among men of different calling surpasses the quantity and in importance anything we find in books, and that the greater part of our wealth has yet to be recorded. Folks, that was over 300 years ago. Now, that's optimism, if you ever tell me one thing. And I believe that even today, 2017, I still believe and I'm still convinced that the unwritten knowledge that's scattered among men and women that's living right now still surpasses the quantity and importance that we find right now in books and on the internet. Somebody sent, and I think this is in circulation, they sent what artificial intelligence is going to do to us in the next 20 years or the next 50 years. And they started talking about all the different jobs that will not be around, that will be gone. But he also talked about how our life is going to be extended. And he talks about how we will not need car. How cool is that? I'm even thinking about that already, not needing a car. How can you just get your phone, call a car, it takes you to where you want to go. You don't have to worry about parking, and then they pick you up when you are ready to go. You can spend more time doing some other stuff. And yet, there are some people that are nervous that, we will not have jobs and all of those kind of stuff. Folks, optimism and happiness goes hand in hand. Now I'm not telling you to bury your head in the sand and pretend something bad is not happening to you. If it's happening to you, that's not what I'm saying at all. But here is what I am saying. If a doctor was to tell you that you've got 6 months to live, do you decide to take a trip around the world as one last way of saying, hey, this is pretty cool, let's enjoy it before it's over? Or do you go lock yourself up, disconnect from everybody and just wait to die? What if the doctor is wrong? Have you just wasted 6 months of your life? Have you made your situation worse? Or the fact that you took a trip around the world, did you stumble into somebody that you never thought about or something that all of a sudden fixed your problem? Okay? Folks, optimism is so cool. And so, yes, what I want to be very practical. I want to be very practical here. Because some people might say, well, you know what? I am not an optimistic person, so that's who I am, that's what I'm going to be, and that's how I'm going to just live. Folks, that's not true. That's really, really not true. If you can be hearing my voice right this very moment, and you happen to be an optimistic person, congratulations. And if you are not, guess what? You can do something about it. It starts with a simple choice. Now, I know if you're a very analytical person, then it may be more complicated than that, okay? So you may want to engage some knowledge, but don't do it too much. Don't analyze it to paralysis, because that's just not going to work to your favor. Because remember now, this is not a contest. This is not a debate. We are not trying to find out who's going to win and who's going to lose. This is a challenge between you and yourself. When I used to do a lot of motivational stuff, I tell people, when you compete with yourself, you never lose. Because even if you lose, who wins? You still win. So in this case, if you are not an optimistic person and you say, hey, you know what? I want to become more optimistic. Here's the first thing that I encourage you to do is decide. Just like the number one thing I will give you about being a happy person is to decide to be happy. The first thing I will say is you can decide right this very moment and say, you know what? I want to be more optimistic. And I'm not saying completely 100% be optimistic. Just say, I want to be more optimistic. And so the first thing you got to do is weigh things. When something comes to you, which usually is in the form of thought, because I believe that every action is preceded by thought. Every single action is preceded by thought. So when that thought comes in, evaluate it. Don't just take it like the way you normally take it. Say, oh, this is going to be bad. No. Take that thought and say, you know what? There got to be another side to this. Let me find out what that side is. Now it becomes very exciting. And especially in these days of Google and access to information, you can go online and type in that stuff, that thought, and try to see, is there a positive side to this thought? Is there an optimistic side to it? And then baby steps, you start getting better. Here is another thing, and I've taught this for years now. When that thought comes into you and it's negative, cancel it. Exactly. Cancel it. Just totally cancel it. And you may even have to scream at yourself. Say, cancel it. And then in the process, your brain is like going to freeze, okay? It's like, wait a second, what's going on? Yeah. And then you can pick the optimistic side of that story. Folks, life is more fun. I'm telling you right now. It is more fun. Now, I was telling to somebody the other day. I said, let's say you're holding a lottery ticket. And somebody said, oh, you're number one. And you won X millions of dollars. And you get excited. And you start thinking all the wonderful things you're going to do. And then the bad news comes and say, oh, we're sorry, that was last month's number. And you did not win anything. And now you're down, so you've gone through the emotion. But guess what? Nothing has really changed in you. You are still the same person that got the good news and that got the bad news. You are still the same person, the same human being. You didn't get any shorter, you didn't get any taller, you didn't get any fatter or any slimmer. You are exactly the same person. It's just that different thoughts went through you. And so this is where being optimistic is powerful. And, when you expect a successful outcome, okay, think about how cool that is. When you expect a successful outcome to something, it brings about that self-fulfilling prophecy. Can you think about this for a second? When you take the Warriors and the Cleveland, in the last NBA Finals, there was something about the Warriors where they just knew the outcome was going to be successful to them. And don't get me wrong, LeBron James was working really hard, but there must be something in the back of his head that says, hey, this is not going to be the same like last year, And even though he's trying to carry the team because of the dynamics that the Warrior brought in. So the self-fulfilling prophecy, folks, can be exciting. Now, but think about it. Let's say LeBron James has done something to win the second game, and all of a sudden, the Warriors start thinking, oh, no, not last year all over again. Now, all of a sudden, self-fulfilling prophecy is reversed. So you owe it yourself. So here is a very simple, practical thing that I want. First of all, I want to encourage you. Go into the internet and just type in optimism and happiness and see what comes up. Have some fun with it. In the process, you're going to focus on your happiness, and you could raise the level of happiness in your life just by doing that, okay? But secondly, you might learn a thing or two. So two practical things. Number one is make a decision that right from this moment, you're going to be more optimistic about life. Doesn't matter what's going on around you. You should be the kind of guy where, a helicopter is taking you to the hospital and you say, man, I finally got a chance to ride on a helicopter. How cool is that, okay? And you help the people around you to help you in the process of that. People are attracted to happy people and they run away from unhappy people. It's just that simple. You want to attract people that can help you, then be more optimistic. So number one is decide. Number two, control the thoughts. When a thought coming into you and you think, hey, this might be a negative one, cancel it and replace it with a new thought. And then every day gets better. Remember, folks, practice makes improvement. Practice doesn't make perfect. So every day you get better. And folks, you can become more optimistic because you deserve it. That's it for today. My name is Edwin Edebiri, the Chief Happiness Officer, saying be more optimistic and be more happy. And we always end the call by wishing each other a happy day and a happy Monday. So I'm going to count 2, and we all say happy Monday together. 1, 2.
Happy Monday, be.
Hey.
Be positive.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. You guys stay happy.